Bullhorn Betty rocks.
Well, good. Happy Monday to my beautiful beans. Come on in the chat. We got a lot to go over in the Nancy Guthrie case. Come on in.
We clocking early, hunt was unstable. Bullhorn Betty on the curve, voice raised. Flip-flop queen with the homemade phrase. Notebook thick, got the screenshots flag. Names in red ink, every rumor, every tag. Late night live stream, screen glow on her face. Truth in her throat, got a lawman's pace. She don't blink when the threats roll through. Come see me, she says, if you think that's cute. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that they gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we get that justice. Insane Asylum, that's our crew nickname. Laugh so loud while we track these names. White boy wild with the webs we spin. Pen to pen, see the pattern sink in. Turmo shaking when the case goes cold. We stir it back up, won't do what we're told. Doorstep question, side eye stare. Where were you that night? We hanging right there. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that they gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we get that justice. This for the faces on the milk cart labels. This for the families praying at tables. This for the names that the news won't say. We say them out loud every single day. Every day. If you're running in the dark, better feel that fear. Betty got a bullhorn right in your ear. Coffee club crazy, but we think so clear. One small town, whole world gonna hear. Hey! Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that the day gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we take vengeance.
Well, good morning to all of my beautiful coffee beans out there in the ether. I'm Bullhorn Betty. We've been covering the case of Nancy Guthrie almost since its inception. What a crazy case it has been. We call it the bipolar case of the internet right now because it's been up and down, up and down, up and down the entire case from what we perceive as shoddy police work at the very beginning. This has been denoted with a whole lot of conflict between departments, FBI, a recall effort for the sheriff, that this was just kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. And where does that leave the information? We know we have a masked gunman on the outside of this home at weird times of the morning on multiple dates. And just trying to figure out what happened in a time when none of the information is coming out. What we have is what we have. And it's very perplexing for many of us that have been in the true crime genre because law enforcement needs the public to solve these cases, yet law enforcement is not giving the public enough information to help them. And it has been kind of a tug and pull in this case, almost from the inception, where Chris Nanos, the sheriff of Pima County, was giving us information, walking the information back, giving us some more information with a different news organization, and then by the next organization walking all of that back. So we've just had a really hard time just trying to understand what's going on in this case, why we do not have a named suspect or person of interest, why we don't have a vehicle that had to have been used in this case. We have no idea where Miss Guthrie was, or a location, or where she went, or what the true purpose of this entire event. I'm starting to hear people going back to the original theory that this person couldn't get to Savannah, so got to her mother. And it's like, how many times are we going to be recycling different theories, but still none of these recycled theories really are holding a whole lot of water? So Miss Guthrie went out to dinner with her daughter and her son-in-law and grandchildren, or grandchild, on January 31st. Now, mind you, this was just days after her 84th birthday. And she took an Uber to that house. We really haven't focused too much on the Uber driver. I mean, if you're looking at cause and effect, she was with a stranger earlier that day. A stranger that knew her property and knew she was not going to be at her property because she was going over to her daughter's house. Why? Because they took her there, and God knows what type of conversations they had in that car and how much information. Sometimes, when people are lonely or live alone and they're around somebody, they have a tendency to, probably speak to them about personal items just to talk, like your hairdresser, right? You go in there, you're getting your hair done, and you just blab about everything. The problems you're having, the life changes you're having. I mean, I think the hairdressers have a TMI on just about everything. I really believe we don't need call girls for those blackmail efforts. I think you can just go to your local hairdresser. She's got enough dirt on everybody in the town. You could have your I'm just saying. Hairdressers got the tea. They got the tea. They've been having the tea for years, right? Where did all the little old ladies get all of their intel, right? Getting their hair curled at the hairdressers. So we have a lot of different things here, that are going on, and a lot of questions. And the majority of our talking points for today are going to be surrounded on whether this guy was already in the house, right? That thought is really, really creepy, like this guy was already there, right? But is it possible? Yeah, it's possible. We're also going to be talking about the silence. Nancy Guthrie had a very much, and we talk about it often, a social calendar. She was a very active 84-year-old woman socially, okay? She had mahjong, groups. She had reading book groups. She had the church service groups. All of these friends that she did things with through the week, not even including all the people at her house doing things like lawn maintenance, pool maintenance, cleaning the house, probably bringing her groceries. God knows what kind of services this lady, we don't even know what kind of services this lady has and how many people have been coming in around her and their families, right? But one thing we know is out of all of this, not one person, not one of all these people that this lady spends her time with ever once came forward to speak kindly of her, ever once came forward to, talk about her. If she was kidnapped, we believed she was kidnapped. And there's nothing more important during a kidnapping than humanizing this person, the kidnapped person, whether it's a child, whether it's a man, woman, or an elderly grandmother. One of the most important jobs that the public has, the family has, and law enforcement has, especially in kidnapping cases, is humanizing that person for the kidnapper. And why do they do that? They do that because it's so important for that person, because these people look at these abductees as things, as items, not human beings. And so you need to kind of get into their psyche and humanize these people and take them from things and items to human beings. Because when they become human beings, when they become a person, it makes it more difficult, at least in theory, for that person to harm the person. When it's a thing, when it's an item, when it's a microphone, when the person's a microphone, throwing the microphone out, not a big deal. When you turn the microphone into a child, on the other hand, makes it a little more difficult to throw the child out. You see the difference? And this is obviously just an example, not reality, but at the end of the day, that is the the mindset behind that. So it's always so important, in my opinion, in a kidnapping, abduction, or missing person to humanize that person across the waves. And that's one of the things that Olivia and I tried to do even back in the Idaho 4 case. Everybody was asking the family, who do they think did this? What do they think? Information. And nobody really talked about the victims. And so when we went in there, we wanted to hear about the victims. We wanted to hear about Maddie. We wanted to hear about Kaylee. We wanted to hear their story. We wanted to make sure whoever is out there got their human side, not this thing or item side. So why was there nobody that she hung out with coming forward and speaking of her or talking about how they were just together or, just something uplifting? We missed all of that in this case. All of it. And it makes me wonder why, right? It makes me wonder why. All right, guys. So that was kind of the intro. We're going to dive into all of that here in a little bit. Good morning, Melanie. It is so nice to see you. Good morning. Good morning. Garden Eyes, the real me too, up in the house. It's nice to see you. Denise, good morning. Linda, Groovy Gal up in the chat. Bullhorn Betty is present. Linda Robertson, sorry about that. Don't mind me. Melanie's saying happy Monday. Betty, Delilah, Mods, chat, much love to BHB, and everyone here is awesome. I hope everyone has a good day. BHB, I love you, I appreciate you. Thank you. I appreciate you too. It is nice to see you guys. Hello. Frank it up. Lisa B, always. It's nice to see you. Good morning, love. 503 Explore up in the chat. Our beautiful Deanne, thank you, saying good morning. Betty, Mods, and Coffee Club friends. And what you guys see her using right here is called a milestone. So if you are a member of this channel, each and every month, you guys get an opportunity to make a post, just like Deanna did. So if you are a member and if you've never made a post, please consider making a post. You get a milestone every year with your membership. So use it. It's nice to see you. Now, a great time would be right now. You guys can use it. Our question of the day is, do you believe the assailant was already inside Miss Nancy Guthrie's house? Let us know. Put it in green. Are you a member? Milestone your answer. Milestone. How do you do that? Go down to the bottom, where the little plus sign is, where you can, do the membership. And you should be able to click on that, and it should give you an option for milestone. And you just click that, and you type in it. That's all you have to do. It took me the longest time when I was on YouTube, to figure that out. Miss Not Nice. Miss Not Nice. I miss Not Nice sometimes. Veronica, well, welcome. It's nice to see you. Welcome. Veronica, good morning. It's nice to see you. It's a pleasure to be here. I just discovered BHB from the coverage of the Hooker case. Well, it's nice to have you. Welcome. It's a small little true crime family over here. So just lean on the people. The people in the white are members, the people in the white are the subscribers. We've got the people in the green that are our members, and then the people that are in the blue are our moderators. So if you have any questions, the people in the blue and the green can help you. It's nice to see you. Trust the process. Hello, Hot Damn up in the chat. It's nice to see you. Our belated birthday girl, Mama, up in the chat. It's nice to see you. Good morning. Hello, Julie. Sister Karen, it's nice to see you, love. I hope you're doing well. The real me too. Faye, good morning. Betty fan is up awfully early this morning. What the heck is going on with you, lady? You're usually not here this early, but it's nice to have you as always. Good morning, love. Good morning. Who else do we have? I think we're getting, that just popped up on me. Oh, we got April, our newly, what is it? Graduate, newly graduate. Give you a big round of, you get a big crowd. She did it. We were so proud. She did it. What is it? Stain edged glass. Jays? Is it Jez? Jays? It's nice to have you, stained glass. I tried. My hooked on phonics is a little messed up. Dan, it's nice to see you. Wow, this popped up on everybody. Hold on. Let me go back up a little bit because I missed a whole bunch of people. I am so sorry. I missed a whole bunch of people. Hold on. Happy Cappy. I think I'm back where I was. Happy Cappy. Good morning. Unicorn. Good morning. Amber. I missed a lot of you guys. I'm so sorry. Dan, I think I said hi to you. Amber, welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the insane asylum. Grab your straight jacket and your padded room and welcome aboard. Welcome aboard, you crazy kids. You crazy kids, you. Dirty boy, it's nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Good morning, good morning. Who else did we miss? Crystal Pistol, Stargaze, it's nice to see you. Matt, it's nice to have you. Good morning. B. Betty, I said hi to you. Joey, good morning, good morning. 3 p.m. in Portugal. Well, welcome. Lori, it's nice to see you. McBriggs, hello. Hello. Who else did I have in here that I missed? I know I missed a bunch of people. April, Peggy, it's nice to see you. Popcorn Jur, it's nice to see you. I didn't even know, you know what was really crazy is I didn't even realize you were a content creator. And then I stumbled across your channel. It came up. I'm a subscriber now. I'm officially a subscriber, so I apologize. If you guys didn't know Popcorn Jur is I didn't know. Sometimes I just don't know. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Welcome. Traveling through your old stomping grounds. Oh boy. Oh, and you're a member. Welcome. All right, guys. So I think I got everybody. If I missed you, Pebbles is up in the chat. It's nice to see you. Shiny little objects. Good morning, Lady for Justice. Jules, I missed it still. Reyes, it's nice to see you. Christina, good morning. Riley Rue. Jewel. Veronica. Could have been. Okay. Well, there's your milestone. Okay. Interesting. Good morning, love. Thank you. Phil from across the pond listening. Can't watch. I'm in Irish Opens. Okay. Dancing our world champion. Broke two. Ooh, in her foot. Ooh. Well, enjoy. Welcome. Thank you. Seclusion works. Get to work. It's nice to see you. Good morning, Charlene. Good morning, Christina. Who else did I miss? Anybody else coming in? Good morning. It's nice to see you. I think we've kind of got through everybody. It's nice to see you. All right. So, as I was saying with the Nancy Guthrie case, we have a lot of things going on with it, and then we still have the unknown of who this person is. Well, guess what? Breaking news. Breaking news, folks. We have breaking news. Dun, dun, dun. Right? There's a masked gunman and a masked person now running loose. Somebody else in a mask and gloves are stealing plants, and it gives me the EBGBs because of the potted plants. Remember? Deflowering the flower pots from, Miss Ashley Banfield. And it just makes me think, how many of these masked gunmen, or these masked gloved men, I should say gloved instead of gun, gloved men, because I don't know if this person had a pew or not. It seems like, but you know what? Maybe they got rid of it. And look at this. Listen, sometimes these things have something to do with each other, but we have no earthly idea. For example, the burning body in the vehicle, right? There was some guy burning in some vehicle set on fire somewhere. How do we know that wasn't one of these assailants that was running their mouth and they decided to, or did the job wrong and ended up having to pay the price for screwing the whole job up? We never look past those things. We never think about that because we hear these things and we think and assume that they're not connected. But what if? What if? Yeah, I'd be scared out of my mind. I know. I think that's why people are, going after Chris Nanos. I think that they are scared out of their mind. They realize their sheriff doesn't have their back. They realize their sheriff is just as bad as half the criminals that they're wanting to locked up, you know? So I'm pretty sure that the whole community there is pretty ticked off, you know? And I'm sure part of it's they're ticked off, you know, because you personalize things. So first of all, that's what takes people so long to kind of come around, because they don't want to blame themselves, right? And so people have a tendency, if they say this, then they're basically acknowledging they did something wrong and they don't want to do that. But sometimes things are so overwhelming. But he lied and deceived the public. It is not the public's fault. It is truly the environment that they were in. And he tried to suppress another person that was a candidate. He was just a rotten apple. And he's been a rotten apple for 40 years in that community. It's just people weren't the wiser because he had a facade. He learned from El Paso and he got sneaky with it, right? He got sneaky with it. So he did underhanded crap. That was his benefit to the community, underhanded crap and lying about everything. Happy birthday. Is it Crystal's birthday? Crystal, is it your birthday? Did I miss your birthday? Thank you. Whose birthday? Let me get up here. Thank you, everybody. It's the birthday. All right, we'll get a birthday. We'll get a birthday. Where's the glasses? Hold on. Let me make sure I don't rip my earphones out of my head. We get a Crystal Pistol birthday. It's a real birthday. It's a real birthday. I just remember doing this yesterday. I wish I would have known. We could have done it all at the same time. Hello, Miss Crystal Pistol. If you guys would please help me sing happy birthday to Miss Crystal Pistol. Hold on. Well, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Crystal Pistol. Happy birthday to you. Baby! Woo-hoo!
Okay, everyone, great job. Back in the kitchen.
You are fake news.
We love you! I thought I'd throw you in there with some fake news. There you go, Crystal. Don't say we never did nothing for you, babe. Don't ever say we never did nothing for you. Sorry, my hair. I didn't do my makeup this morning. I had so much stuff to do this morning. If you are in Manatee County and you are in the 2nd District of Manatee County and you are watching our show, please reach out to me at bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I have a job that I have got to get done today. Well, this week. I'm going to be out in the field this week. Oh, and we're probably going to be going to Hudson. I'm researching a case of a missing girl. It seems like she's not getting enough attention. She's here in my backyard. And so search efforts are not working. So I might go ahead and pull Bullhorn Betty search efforts. We might just suit up, put like 3 or 4 different cameras on us and start running on all channels. And start getting out there in the field and start searching for her. I'm not sure what we're going to do yet, but I'm eyeballing a case in Hudson right now. Just FYI. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here. We have a masked intruder, okay, folks? We have a masked intruder. Another surveillance system apparently captured another crime just a mile from Nancy Guthrie's house here recently. And guess what, guys? Remember that gray Ford pickup, or that gray pickup truck that we were talking about? Gray SUV, gray pickup truck. Remember that? Anybody? Raise your hands. Way up there. I'm going to give you guys a few moments as I'm talking. Do you guys remember at the beginning of this case somebody talking about a pickup truck? Anybody? What's the name, Betty? I missed it. Manatee County. 2nd District, Manatee County. Anybody remember? Mm-hmm. I fell in bull doo-doo. Makeup wouldn't help this. So I had too much stuff to do this morning. I didn't have time. Remember? Oh, we got some people that remember. Well, guess what? Scary enough? Sounds like a freaking gray pickup truck was associated and affiliated with this masked gunman, too. So a Ring video post online, a gray Ford F-150 pulls up to a house in the Catalina Foothills neighborhood in Tucson, Arizona, just before 11 p.m. Masked man wearing gloves and a baseball cap emerges from the truck and loads several cacti from a house onto the truck. Now, granted, this sounds like, okay, Betty, this is just cacti. It's not a human. We don't know what this assailant was doing over at Miss Nancy Guthrie's house, first and foremost. Secondly, guess what? We have potted plants moved all over the place in her backyard. And again, how do we know that these plants aren't to go over some shallow grave to cover it up? Just saying, what is the purpose? Could this be associated or affiliated? I don't know, folks. I can tell you I'm a little worried. I'm not going to lie. Ooh, got that real big. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little worried. Let's see if we can get this down here. Why did that make it so big? Oh, it's because from last night when we had to blow that one thing up. There we go. Let's see what she has to say. And I found out that the Arizona family lady, she's now a content creator. She has crossed over. To being a investigative reporter on a channel that only has 500,000. I didn't know they paid for private investigative journalists on channels that only have 500,000 viewers on it. That's weird. I would not give up a AZ news job for an investigative journalist for a 500. I mean, if they had a couple million, maybe. But either way, welcome, bring it on. We're happy to have you.
Ring camera video from a Catalina Foothills home just blocks away from Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood making the rounds online tonight. And it was taken just last night, showing a masked person in gloves walking up a private driveway in the middle of the night and taking a potted cacti. News for Tucson's Jacob Owens joins us from the Foothills with why this video, Jacob, is causing some concern tonight.
Monica, that's right. If this were any other...
If I may say this, I know that there's going to be somebody at some point from this area that's in this channel. I don't know if we have some people that are already in the Catalina Foothills or in Tucson that are watching this early in the morning or not. I just want to say, guys, please, 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 please force your county to invest in lights for your communities, okay? When we have the craziness going on around the world like we do right now, you cannot put yourself in a sitting duck position. Right now, I feel like Pima County is sitting ducks. Their residents are sitting ducks. I know, oh God, not the plants. But you know what? Why the plants, though? He's stealing the plants for what? You know? And we've got a body that needs to be concealed. We've got, we don't know what happened, and people are stealing potted plants so they don't have records on credit cards and stuff. I don't know. I think there might be something more with the potted plants. This is a little, I don't know. I don't like it. It just makes me, I'm not feeling it. We've lived a couple of places where people would steal plants from porches or yards and also clean out cemeteries. Then they go and sell them at the flea market. That is so ghetto. I'm going to tell you, if you are one of those people that do that, I ever find out, I will put you on the front page of Bullhorn Betty. We need to have a publication. I need to start working on it. I need to start working a little bit harder. I got a lot of stuff, and once we get to a certain point, maybe I need to start hiring somebody. I don't freaking know. I got to tell you, this stuff it's a lot more than you'd think.
their situation, this video likely would not be getting this sort of attention, but it's not a different scenario. This was less than a mile from Nancy Guthrie's home here in the foothills. It's a neighborhood that's been on edge for weeks and actually months. Tomorrow marks 90 days.
You're like, what a-hole that lives around that community would do this to the community on the heels of Nancy Guthrie? Like, whoever you are, you know what? You're a heartless POS. Like, you could have gone and stolen those plants from anywhere in Tucson, and you guys go and hit an already crippled community. What jerk. What a jerk. Even if you had nothing to do with Nancy Guthrie, they should throw the book at you just for being an all-around POS.
Since Nancy Guthrie disappeared from her home here in the foothills, and that's 3 months. So a video surfacing of a man in a mask on private property is raising some surprise with a neighbor I spoke with.
And look at it, a gray pickup truck. A gray pickup truck. Now, granted, I'm looking at the gate. The gate's not really... That gate's not really the same. What you bet that this is going to be somebody installed something, they didn't get paid for it, and decided to go and steal it back. It's going to be some stupid stuff like that, what you bet. That looks like a construction, but we're looking for somebody like that.
This neighbor who posted, so take a look, the neighbor who posted the video from last night wants to remain anonymous, we should say, but says that the video shows a gray Ford F-150 pulling into their driveway just before 11. Moments later, a man wearing gloves, a face mask, and a baseball cap gets out of the truck, walks toward the front of the home, and begins loading several potted cacti into the bed of the pickup.
Now, that particular walk, I would have a problem saying that how do we know that that's absolutely a man? Because, quite frankly, the movements of that kind of look a little femme to me. But it's probably a dude.
The homeowner later posted the video to the Ring app, where it quickly started circulating through the Catalina foothills. We reached out to the sheriff's department, asking if they had seen the video, and they say they...
Never mind, it's definitely a dude.
...have not been advised of anything like this, but they do say they will keep me posted. And while there's no indication that the incident is connected to the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, one neighbor tells me the location of this, while there is an increased law enforcement presence in this area, makes this a shock.
Yeah, great point. They have absolutely increased their law enforcement presence. I mean, hell, we watch friggin', news crews and content creators pull up in this area, and they're getting surrounded by cops saying, "Where'd you park? Where'd you park?" I'd be out there asking them, "Why are you harassing me?" I would be getting them on the camera just like that. "Why are you harassing me? What have I done to... have I done anything criminal to even get you to speak to me?" Law enforcement don't get a right to harass you. They have to have a reason to speak to you. They can't just come up to you and start speaking to you in a legal manner without having this thing called probable cause. You can't investigate me without probable cause. I would be challenging the crap out of this area right now. I don't want to. That's why I didn't go there, because I don't have the fight in me over this case. But it's just really, really irritating what they're doing. People that are trying to bring awareness to this crap here are getting ran off while this crap is going on in the dark. I'm absolutely frustrated. Does this have anything to do? This is pretty brazen. In a community that's flooded with law enforcement, that already has a missing woman with masked persons and gloves. This was just, whoever this is, I hope they figure it out. But there's somebody that looks like a grayish, maybe a bluish gray truck. I don't know. So if you guys are out there, you guys need to start writing plates down. You see this truck in that area, write the plates down. Because you can definitely tell what his height is. You can definitely tell he's a leaner person. You can definitely tell he has longer legs than a torso. There's a lot of visual. You can't see his face, but there's a lot of things that we can visibly see about this person, including their walk. And those jeans have very specific markings only for that person. If those jeans were purchased by this person brand new, there's not going to be another pair of jeans that look like that have the markings on the sides and the ribs and the seams of those jeans like this man's. They're almost very... People don't realize your clothing, especially clothing you've had for a while, It is almost like a fingerprint, because nobody walks the same, nobody sits the same. So your creases, your natural creases on your pants that go in are for you. That means if somebody else wears those pants with a different body, even though they fit those pants, they're going to be creasing in different areas than you crease. They've been able to use clothing and actual, you know, like on the jeans. Let me go find a pair of jeans. Let me show you. Alright, so we got a pair of jeans here. So right here, in these, see that? See these right here? Look at that. I can almost guarantee that even the same pair of jeans, these are D jeans. So these are D jeans. So even if you had D jeans, okay, you're not going to have the same markings and the same creases in the exact same spots as me. See this? This is an imperfection that's only on my jean right here. And it's a little bit of a bleach spot. I got, when I was doing something, I kind of splattered some bleach. Little bit of bleach down there. So this right here, jeans especially, I love jeans on people. Jeans especially. And back here, in the back, you can find jeans that are only, that have markings just for that person. It doesn't need, and you can have 15 of the same D jeans. You can have this exact made jeans from 15 people, and you're going to have 15 different markings on the sides of the seams. Did you guys know that? I bet you guys didn't know that. There's so much you can do with clothing and photos this day and age. In investigative work. So I find jeans being the easiest, but it does have similar makeups with other pairs, you know, it's just more visible for me to find and locate with the jeans. So I thought that was an interesting perspective. So this day and age, in digital age, your numbers are limited, okay? Once upon a time, people could theoretically get away with murder, okay? This day and age, yeah, people do get away with it. Let's not lie. You know, we do still have a number of people that are very clever and creative in providing issues with beyond a reasonable doubt, because beyond a reasonable doubt is a high burden, right? It's a high burden, and as long as you have doubt, you've created enough doubt, then you're going to walk, right? It's not necessarily hiding the body, unless you're in Tennessee. Hiding the body works in Tennessee because Tennessee is just a state that doesn't know how to prosecute circumstantial cases. Their prosecution and police law enforcement out there in many cases are the ones that are dumb, not the public, okay? Because they're the ones that have predetermined that their residents are too stupid to understand a circumstantial case. That's what they're saying, not me. And how do I know that? Because they don't bring circumstantial cases. We here in Florida, if we can't get you on we're bringing a case. Okay, we're very, very creative. If we are not ready to get you on a homicide, we'll go for something a little lower. But we're gonna get you, because in the state of Florida, we believe when people break the law, they probably committed more crimes than just that. So we try to find out what other crimes and we throw you in jail for that while we build the case against you. And I wish more states did that. We're not saying chump up charges. We're not saying create charges. We're saying do your job. Because criminals are criminals, period. And if they committed one crime, there's probably other crimes that they committed. For example, Sebastian Rogers, what could have been a great charge for them? Child abuse. Child abuse. Child neglect. Child endangerment. They had enough probable cause. Now remember, probable cause, very low threshold. Very low. Everybody just about has probable cause. Okay? Unless it's a lie and fabricated. That's why mine got tossed. Right? Because it was a lie and fabricated. But probable cause is probable cause. It's low threshold. You only have to meet very, very minimal elements to create it. So in Sebastian Rogers' case, they could have went after child endangerment, child abuse, something along those lines for them, to get them in the system, to lock them down while they built the case against them for their child missing, right? Which is most likely because Katie committed homicide against her own child, filicide, right? So that's kind of where we're at. But in situations like this, we have people all over the Catalina foothills committing crimes unbeknownst to that community. Because this right here, if it wasn't on the Ring doorbell, do you think anybody would have brought this up or talked about it? Do you? No. Law enforcement is not publishing this stuff. And quite frankly, just like I found out now granted, we do have a little bit of better media, not by much, out here in Pima County. But I always find the media is just as corrupted as the politicians. In most of these corrupted areas because that's how the corruption, the corrupt politicians are able to thrive, because they've got the corrupted media. That's what's been helping Sumner County and Sheriff Snuggle struggles. Eric Craddock. Because his, all their media, outside of like a few news agents, which aren't the agencies, they're just the news reporters. There's only like a couple out there that actually are not corrupted. Their media out in Sumner County, Tennessee, is as corrupted as their politicians. And what you find out is you probably have the same thing going on in Pima County, because that's how the corruption is able to thrive, because they have the media partners lying and manipulating you, along with they're not doing their job. They're not doing the investigative journalism that they're supposed to be doing. They're not holding the sheriff's feet to the fire, and they're not doing that. And they did better. You guys did better in Pima County than they ever did in Sumner County, because even the politicians are saying enough with this sheriff. The politicians are co-signing Eric Craddock's BS in Sumner County. The whole damn system needs to be fired in Tennessee. The whole system. You guys are doing good in Arizona, and quite frankly, I'm actually shocked. I would have expected this kind of motivation to be happening in Tennessee as opposed to Arizona. But that's what happens when you assume a lot. We have theories, and sometimes the theories hold water, and sometimes they don't. But I'm very proud to see Pima County standing up and having some balls and backbones. CP admitted abuse. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Google it, y'all. You damn right he did. Like I said, they should have been arrested a long time ago. They should have been arrested a long time ago. They didn't need to be arrested for his disappearance, but there was a lot that they could have arrested for. Because we heard Chris admit so much stuff. And guess what? Law enforcement had all of that. They had those CPS records. They had the records from the counselors. I'm telling you, I looked at the law. And I absolutely 100% believe they had probable cause to arrest Christopher and Katie Proudfoot for abuse. Both of them. And they failed. They turned the other cheek.
It is someone walking on your property late at night, uninvited, committing, it might be a small crime, but committing a crime, and it is disturbing. It drives the point home that we have to be watchful, be aware of our homes, but also of our neighbors.
This guy he must be unnerved. I can't imagine being this guy. Like he's now here talking to media about this after having his neighbor ripped out of her bed in the middle of the night, like literally diagonal from his house. You can see each other's rooftops. I would be freaking losing my stuff, okay? I'm having political issues in my county, and I'm so far done with the political issues in my county that I'm going to be moving. I'm going to be moving because I'm sick and tired of arguing with these peons that run this county. I'm going up to the state of Florida and arguing with some of the decision makers up there. And when they get sick and tired of hearing my voice and hearing me be a boil on the ass of them, maybe some stuff will get done further down the line. But, I can't imagine being here. And that's why I'm moving. Political, not even criminal. Like, if this crap was happening in my backyard, I would be unnerved. I would be you guys know me. I would be up at my county. I would be screaming and telling them take the damn mic I double dog you. You take my mic. Take my mic. Come get my mic. Just stop. Don't be trying to shut me up. But I feel so bad for these people. You know, we do love people. I mean, at the end of the day, we do what we do here on these channels for the love of people. You know, we don't like these cases. We try to expose them. And quite frankly, and a lot of these times, like especially these last 2 times, the issues come with internal issues in the community. Like, you can't get this stuff solved because you got corruption in your community and they're trying to hide the corruption. And it's not like that all over the place. I will tell you, it seems like it. There is a form of corruption in just about every community that I've ever been in. And so I'm kind of immune to it. So now I have like levels of corruption, you know, like lower levels. I kind of turn the other cheek because it's just not worth it. But you find that that's where it starts breeding. It breeds down here, and then it just starts growing and growing and growing. And I found that to be the case in Sumner County. They have a good old boy system there. They have a good old boy system here. And even some of the politicians that are fighting to get Chris Nanos out of office, they have a self-serving purpose of doing so, in my opinion. I've looked into some of the backgrounds and some of the policies of the people that are running Pima County, and quite frankly, I'd be firing some of them too. But again, like I told, you know, the people out there, don't start making it a big fight, right? You just steps. It's all about steps. Let's just get Chris Nanos out of office. Let's just do the recall efforts, get him pulled. Then we got elections 2026. Some of those supervisors are up for election. Listen, when you have something like this happen in your community, in my opinion, fire everybody and restart, right? We've done it. We're trying to redo our board here in Manatee County, and we don't have this kind of stuff going on in our county that you guys do out there in Pima County. But fire everybody. That's just my that's my answer to everything, right? That's my answer to everything. So I go to the Hindu Times, and while the Hindu Times is quite expressing the information here well, I disagree with this particular article, and I think it's right around here. According to the recent reporting on this case, investigators have recovered new surveillance footage showing the masked individual. The masked individual was captured on CCTV footage camera at the house about a mile away from Nancy Guthrie's. However, authorities have not linked the sighting with any suspect or person of interest in the case. That possibility, the possibility that it could lead through a breakthrough, has all of a sudden made ex-FBI profile Jim Clementi's remarks about all the more relevant in speaking. I think it was up here then. That's not it. He says that the new surveillance footage has all of a sudden made what Clementi said about how the suspect can be identified within weeks relevant all over again. I disagree with this because weeks have passed. They've already done all of this stuff for weeks into the guy. If they were to have him or know him, they would have revealed that person weeks ago. So I don't think that this helps identify, because I don't think that was the person that broke into Nancy's house or did that to her. First of all, the guy looked a lot taller and a lot slimmer than the guy at the front porch, the porch guy, right? Thank you, Let Them 66. She says, thank you for all you do. Prayers for all that needs them. Prayers for the missing. God bless you. We appreciate you, love. We appreciate you. So I really kind of disagree with this. And this is the lady... No, I don't want this one. I'll have to come back to this one. We're going to go ahead and dive into the main part. If you guys know, this is Nancy Grace. She's been covering this case. You know, I love Nancy Grace, and I understand that this has to do with a friend of hers that she's known for years, and I understand that, but she changed the rules for her friend, and I don't respect things like that. We have to keep the standard the same for every person, whether we know the people or not, because at the end of the day, how well do you really even know the person that you're married to? You know, we all want to believe that, yeah, we know them, but let's look at Rex Heuermann, right? Serial killer, BTK, serial killer. Families had no idea that they were literally living with somebody doing such terrible things to other human beings. With that said, that is the exact reason why it is so important to have a same standard. That means people are treated the same way. That means if people are exhibiting red flags, we treat them as red flags. We do not dismiss them because we know them. And that was very upsetting for me, but I understand why. She knows her friend. She knows her friend had nothing to do with it. And but the browbeating, like even me, I was like, yeah, I understand why you guys are still hooked on to Tommaso. I wasn't browbeating you. I wasn't shaming you into compliance. And I felt that some of these powerhouses like Nancy Grace were, in fact, shaming people for not taking what Chris Nanos, of all people, said, right? And jumping on to, how dare you? I love Nancy Grace again. I do love her, but that part I didn't appreciate too much because, again, in any other case, even Sebastian Rogers, it fits. It's up for scrutiny. These people aren't doing anything for their family. What did you just say about Chris and Katie Proudfoot? You can't sit there and say that about Chris and Katie Proudfoot and then, oh, but I know Savannah, so we can't say this about them. No, same standard. We believe in the 14th Amendment, and so should Nancy Grace. So I love Nancy Grace, but I really frowned upon that when covering this case, and still to this day frown upon that when covering this case. And I think that it's important for me to vocalize that because I feel like some people have stopped speaking about their theories because they're scared they're going to be, fingered, shame on you, and I don't like that. I don't like that. Oh, Mustang Sally, it's nice to see you, love. I hope you're doing well. The Jersey lady, Janet, it's nice to see you, love. I hope you're doing well. Good morning. Did I miss anybody else? Army Vet, good morning, love. I hope you're doing. The scale of Wi-Fi outages on the night of February 1st had become a digital fingerprint for the FBI by mapping where the signal dropped. I don't know. I've only heard that one little area. I didn't see any other droppage or anything like that. Maybe if you've got something that I'm missing, let me know. Thank you. Carol's become the newest member of this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straitjacket in your padded room and welcome aboard, Carol. We appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you so much. She said she was Nancy's friends, not friends of the family. Yeah, and we need to get back to that because this is where this comes in, right here. Even Parade is saying church friends remain silent after reported family request. And this brings us back to why. Why are all of Nancy's friends staying so quiet? Why?
In this case, see how valuable that is in the Celeste Rivas case? In this case, no one, until a few days ago, has been looking at around that Uber delivery, that Uber drive. So what, if any...
And I think we need to maybe look. I'm not saying they never cleared the Uber driver. They never said that the Uber driver was cleared. As a matter of fact, they distracted us by saying we got the video surveillance out of the car of the Uber driver of Miss Nancy Guthrie, and it didn't hold any evidence, right? Any evidentiary value, basically. And it's like, but the cause and effect, this person picked the lady up in an Uber earlier that day, and then all of a sudden she's gone that night. How do we know that Uber driver didn't go back and break into her house or, something of that nature? Could it be the Uber driver? We've never scrutinized the Uber driver. Was the Uber driver Carlos, the delivery man, right? Because, some of those delivery people are Uber drivers too. I didn't know that, but I found out that for myself. That sure explains why no one has spoken out for poor Nancy. What did you say, Betty? There's a new article this morning answering those. Is that the one I was going to get, the parade article? I might go back and read that. I think that's what you're referring to, because that's this right here. I got the parade article here. But it was from yesterday, not today.
Anything can we learn Joe Scott Morgan?
Well, certainly directionality. What route was taken, and also, look, as an old investigator, I want to know as much as I possibly can about.
That is so foolish. That is so foolish. I mean, people, this is what, the one thing that I have learned doing this true crime stuff is that law enforcement are humans. They're not superhumans. They don't have special privileges, powers, or anything like that. They're just human beings, right? Doing a job. And they make mistakes just like everybody else. And at the end of the day, I have never met one law enforcement agency that's been able to solve the case without the public. So any family, any friends, anybody that is telling people not to help the public help them is a fool. Is a fool. And I think that's why a lot of people are kind of getting a bad taste in their mouth over Savannah and her family, is because it doesn't seem like they're helping at all. It seems like they're actually doing everything they can to quiet the case down. It seems like they're trying as much as possible to remove people from viewing the story. You'd hear nothing from the family. You hear crickets from Savannah. You hear nothing about her posting on Instagram, even reminding people that her mother's missing. Anything about what she was wearing, what she could be found in. Nothing. We've get no information from them. Law enforcement doesn't care. Pima County doesn't care. I mean, I don't mean it like that. I mean, like Chris Nanos, he doesn't care. This case has ruined his career. He's not really all up on it. Okay, in my opinion. And then, of course, we have the investigators that are, just beat up over this case, right? And that, you got to think of their morale and their want to continue, right? They just want this case to go away. They're not, at this point, this was like a stain on their department, so much so that I truly believe that, they just want it, they either want it solved, but I think they're coming to the conclusion that maybe that's going to be harder than they think, maybe because of some of the mistakes that were made. Maybe it had nothing to do with mistakes made. Maybe it was just the lack. I mean, it is mistake. No matter how you look at it, turning off the cameras, having no cameras around that area, having no lights around, that's community. That's infrastructure. That's safety features. They killed all their safety features in this area. Those were choices made. Those were choices made by the people that were supposed to keep this community safe. They scrubbed all personal information from the internet. That's true. I mean, everything that you could do, everything that gives us red flags about a family, this family has exhibited. And I don't believe they had anything to do with it. I will be honest with you. You guys know that. But I'm still very honest about the behavior of these people. Okay? I do not like elite people. I think there's something sick and wrong and twisted in their brain. I really do. I've always thought that, and I'm not trying to be nasty to or whatever, but it's just like the mentality of people with a lot of money. They're not normal people. I don't consider there's not a whole lot of very wealthy, ultra wealthy people that are normal to me. Okay? There's a few. There are a few, but there's not very many. These people are twisted, like their brains are, they're up. That's what they are. And they've got so many emotional issues, it's not even funny.
About the driver, that they have an awareness of her, maybe who she is, this sort of thing. Were they followed in any way, I think? And so any kind of players that might be involved in this peripheral, look, we'll take anything, right? We'll take absolutely anything relative to the data that can be sourced. Where did this individual go before? Okay, he picked up Mrs. Guthrie. Where did he go after he picked up Mrs. Guthrie? I want to know everything about it in granular detail, Nan. Like, do you guys remember the story? It just happened, and I want to say it happened in Minnesota or something. Maybe it was Michigan or Wisconsin. It was up there, in that area. And the girl was visiting her dad. She was on like spring break or something like that. And she went to drop off food delivery
to this one lady's house, and I think the lady only tipped her $2. So she took her pepper spray and sprayed it all over her food. And then the lady was arrested, for that. I can't remember where that was, and that's when we found out this lady, she was actually extradited back to the state because she was only there visiting her father, and she's an Uber driver, so she just picked up some. You can just change your location and just pick up some, after you're already approved in the system. You can pretty much work in the whole entire United States. So if you're on vacation, you just open your app, change your location, and you can start picking up and doing jobs right from your vacation spot. You don't have to be in a certain area to be on Uber Eats or whatever. And so that's what she was doing. She was still collecting money even though she was on vacation. Well, I keep wondering something like that. What if Miss Guthrie didn't tip the Uber driver, or didn't tip the Uber driver enough, and they got pissed off and decided to come back and show her, it sounds so petty. But trust me, we've watched people get murdered over this type of petty all over this country. Even one guy in Florida, he was delivering food to this one guy. This guy had just gotten out of prison, had tattoos all over his body, and he just yokes up the delivery guy, takes his food, unalives the delivery guy, hides the car down the road, I'm sure steals all the money, and was caught because they knew exactly what the last delivery of this Uber driver was, because it's on the app. They could see where he was. They could see where he moved to. So this guy with all these tattoos, big guy, scary guy too. And everybody tells us we're not supposed to judge people. The hell? If I'm a delivery person and I knock on a door like that, I'm dropping the food right there and leaving. You ain't getting near me. But apparently he was able to yoke that guy up, and he ended up just an innocent guy too. It was his last job. He was about to head home to his wife. Last job, just spoke to his wife, said he had one more stop, and he was heading home, and he never came home. And his wife called him. They found him several days later, and this guy just. They said the family knows someone that has been trying to get Savannah to respond to their commands. Cam told her it was because of her. Yeah, but that was a theory. I don't really trust that being a theory, because nobody has ever talked about this. And quite frankly, whenever I'm looking into this, I went back. When I searched Savannah, I went back a lot to see if there was any type of articles, even before internet, paper, paper stuff, just anything about the Guthrie family, any type of stalking, any type of, some of those things. Like, think about it. Every single person, Rihanna, we knew about her stalker. We knew about the stalker for, what was that, Taylor Swift. We know about these stalkers. We hear about these stalkers. They do come out in stories, like from TMZ and other things, as they hear about them. We've never heard of any stalker for Savannah Guthrie. It has never even been implied from Savannah, her team, or law enforcement. So, again, nobody is saying that. Somebody is assuming that. And I want to make sure that we differentiate between the assumptions and fact, because we cannot base theory and speculation on theory and speculation. Our theory and speculation we base on this particular show is based upon hardcore facts of the case. Now, even if it's limited facts, what do these sets of facts mean? And so we start developing, theories, and we speculate on how those theories work with this set of facts. But we've got nothing, at least that I know, and I'm with this particular case, I'm pretty much in the know of what has been officially released on this case, and I don't think there's been anything from the family, indirectly or directly, that has stated that Savannah had a stalker, or that this had anything to do with an alleged stalker. It's an assumption. Somebody is assuming because she's as famous as she is, she must have a stalker, and therefore, because they couldn't get to her, they got to her mother. But everything that I've read from Savannah, her own statements, and law enforcement, as well as other statements from, social media prior to them locking all this stuff down, I never saw anything about this alleged stalker. And I think it was pretty much dismissed very early on that Savannah did have a stalker, because they did go through her. They were working with her team. Now, did she get some hate mail or stuff like that? I'm sure she did. I'm sure she got some creepy, obsessive type of mail too, but I don't think that that would denote a specific stalker stalking her or wanting violence to her. I would just like something from a legitimate source confirming that before we take it as true. So I get you, Phyllis, but I just want to make sure that right now we keep that as a rumor or opinion instead of fact, because I don't know where that has come out as a factual statement.
From what we can tell,
but it could have been.
Was
and if it is, please send it to me.
Of the kidnap.
If it is, if it has been released, send it to me, bullhornbetty@gmail.com, so I'm in the know, you know. But I just haven't seen it since, from what I've been able to. Hey, Michelle, it's nice to see you, love. I hope you're doing well. Every time a family member posts to social media or speaks to a reporter, they create a digital signature that a sophisticated suspect can use to track their current location or emotional state. That is true. That is true. Let me get that. That is true. Absolutely. Is Rue in the chat? Good morning. Patricia, good morning. I don't know if I said good morning to you before I answered your question. I hope you're doing well.
Of Mrs. Guthrie. So, what we're getting at is when he picked up Mrs. Guthrie to take her to Annie's, we have reason to believe the perp was already in the neighborhood.
All right, here we go. So I think that this could be absolutely accurate. That when she was picked up by the Uber driver, the assailant was already in the community. I think that we can assume that based upon past behavior. We know that now, hindsight 2020, January 11th, right? So January 11th, if you're not familiar with that date, that is the date. There was 2 different sets of activity. And we didn't know this on February 10th. February 10th is when we learned of the masked gun intruder on the outside of Nancy Guthrie's house. So when we learned about that, there was another photo mixed in with those photos. And it was really different because everybody noticed immediately that it was very dark behind the person and that the person was missing a backpack. We learned that in fact, oh, thank you, Garden Eyes. Garden Eyes just gifted 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships. Thank you, love. Because I'm a love machine. Ow! So welcome, Janet, Reyes, Sunshine, Crystal. What is that? 1, 2. Oh, and Pussy Willow Pendercat. Welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club. I.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straitjacket in your padded room and welcome aboard. And remember, all 5 of you get your milestone. So I don't know when it'll be ready, if it'll be ready today, tomorrow, whatever. Don't forget to use your milestone. Everybody that is a member on the Bullhorn Betty channel gets a once a month free milestone comment that's highlighted for you. So always use that when you can. Always use that when you can. Thank you guys for being here. So now, based upon January 11th, when you see this masked gunman, or this masked intruder, because he wasn't a gunman at the time. He didn't have his backpack. He didn't have his firearm. He was just scoping the place. He saw that camera on the outside of her front door. This shouldn't have been so unknown to him. And you know what? That may have been the reason why he was so comfortable moving around, right? Because he had already been there at night several times, most likely. Moving around her home at night, making sure he understood where everything was. Remember when I looked at it and I saw that he stepped before he looked. It was pitch black out there, and if you watch him, he reached back, got the foliage, And it looks like he turns to look at something or see something or whatever. Might have been hearing the dogs barking in the background. We heard dogs were barking that night, right? But he turns his head and then he turns back to go over to but he steps up before there was no light. He didn't have light there. The light didn't shine, but he knew to step up. And so I've always questioned that. And then when you go back and you realize he was there on the 11th. If he was there on the 11th, and then remember, Jeff LeMay, or what is his name? I think that was Jeff LeMay. Blah, 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 blah. What is this? Is his name Jeff? What is his name? Jeff LeMay. When he was talking about his dogs, remember that he was talking about his dogs acting peculiar or whatever that night. This guy is stepping up. We don't know how long he had been there, but his wife told Brian Enton that she saw a guy in street clothes earlier that day on the 11th, scoping and looking out, so much so that she called her husband and her sister to talk about the strange vibe she got from seeing this guy, looking up and down all these roads in the street clothes with a hat that pulled down over his face and covered his face. So this person went out of their way to find out what happened. So if they did that on the 11th, and we're hearing it's possible that they did that on the 24th as well, based upon that, we can hypothesize that this person was probably in that community preparing for this very important night. So was he in there? Was he already watching the house, the comings and goings? It's possible, folks. It's possible, because we know he was there all day on the 11th. How do we know that? Because one of the neighbors saw the person scoping out the neighborhood during the day in the morning, and we have evidence that he's on footage at night and in front of her house in pitch black. So we know he was there earlier and at night. So he must have been there all day also watching her house on the 11th. Probably doing the same thing on the 24th. He may even have attempted to do the 24th, and something may have prevented him from striking on the 24th. Maybe because that was around her actual birthday. Maybe she had a lot of people celebrating her birthday coming and going, and it just made it very difficult. Maybe that had something to do with it. But the 31st, for whatever reason, that was the time that they chose to strike. And we still don't know, because there's still a lot of professionals right now that believe this guy acted alone. And why do they keep saying that? And Cheryl McCullum is one of them. And the reason why is because out of all these events, all of these times that this guy has managed to come to this house to scope it out prior to actually striking, we've only seen this one assailant. We haven't seen any other assailant. Oh, Lady for Justice, thank you for becoming the newest member. You've been part of this family for a while, but we're happy to have you back. Grab your straight jacket and your padded room, and welcome aboard. Welcome aboard, because I'm a love machine. I'm a love machine. Ow! So we have to look at that, right? He was there the 11th. They were talking about the 24th. So there's a possibility he was there the 11th, the 24th, and the 31st. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. How long was this guy actually stalking his prey? It looks to me at least a month, folks. At least a month. So what happened a month prior to? That's our question. What happened a month prior to? And if we were to look at the Google Trends, what happened all the way back to last year? Last year, folks. And we do have the electrician coming, September 2025. How many electricians were on her property? How many? Yep, the 27th. Just days before. So people, 3 days before, people would be coming and going around the house celebrating private birthdays with her. I know mine goes on for like a week.
Positioned, waiting. Straight out to Cheryl McCollum joining us, Cold Case Investigative Research Institute founder. She is also a crime scene investigator, and she is the star of a hit podcast, Zone 7. She's the author of a brand new book, Swans Don't Swim in a Sewer, Solving the Cold Case of the Flint River Killer's Daughter. Amazing book, by the way. Cheryl McCollum, thank you for being with us. We have reason to believe that if you know when you don't know a horse, Cheryl McCollum, you look at his track record. We already know that Miss Guthrie's kidnapper was there on January 11. He's caught on video and very likely there on previous occasions. You know he was in that neighborhood and poised with his accomplice when Mrs. Guthrie was first picked up and taken to Annie Guthrie's. Many people believe he may have already gotten into her place before Mrs. Guthrie returned home that night.
You know, Nancy, I want to go back to the car first.
Well, get back to Cheryl. Yes, the coffee. One of our audience members got me addicted to this coffee, and it's smooth. And even when I try to go back to other coffee, I can't now because it's so smooth. And it's Tony's coffee. I don't know where she gets it. I don't know. I stockpiled it here. I drank a pot of coffee a day. But I got to tell you, I don't know where she gets it. I can only order it. Let me see if I can find it here. Give me just a second. Order it online. But I don't know if any other stores. Tony's. The online store. Here it is. This is it. If you guys want to know that's the stuff right there that I drank right there. This is what I drink right here. Okay, if you guys wonder, this is, I do a whole pot. Okay, you see that it says espresso. I do a whole pot. This right here is a pot of espresso. Okay, it's not medium roast. Okay, just that. That's the stuff. That's the stuff. So I can only order it online. I feel like she gets it from a shop near her for some reason, but at the end of the day, this is, if you guys want to know what I purchased, there it is. Tony's coffee, and I gotta tell you, it is smooth. It has no bitter taste to it at all. It is smooth. It is as smooth as a baby's butt. I'm just saying. I thought that too. What is it? Let me see what the Real Me Too has to say. The roof stood out to me. Yes, how clean it was. There was one of the neighbors noticed the roof right off because of the helicopters or the drones that was being put up. And I remember that one of the neighbors, I can't remember what news organization it was. It might have been Brian. It might have been Mike. With Fox, but it might have been a local station too. I can't remember where I heard it from, but somebody had reported that one of the neighbors drove to the house and talked to law enforcement there or called them. I remember it was a physical conversation, it sounded like. And they talked to the investigators about how incredibly white Miss Guthrie's roof was. And they believed that her roof looked freshly painted. Now, it may not have been freshly painted. It may have just been pressure cleaned. Her house looked amazing. The exterior of her house looks amazing. I have to think that, with all that debris and stuff like that, especially when they have torrential downpours, that your house can get, mildewy and moldy, especially having a flat roof. That's one of the things that come with having flat roofs, pooling areas. I don't really like a flat roof design because I think that over time your roof deteriorates a lot quicker and there's more standing water on flat roofs versus hip or gable roofs. So there are some things that I look at that I don't necessarily, but with the fact that her roof looks so white, one of two things that appears happened recently. Either she had her house pressure cleaned or her roof was freshly painted. Recently, within a few months. You don't keep that white, or, within 6 or so months. I mean, white stays white for a little while, but, after 6 months or so, you start getting some debris, and some mildew, especially on flat roofs. Again, there are certain little pivots that pull water. That water typically collects, debris, dirt, stuff that's in the air that gets blown around, leaves, and they kind of sit on that little puddle until it evaporates. And then once it evaporates, all the stuff in the water kind of sits and sticks. So you have to pressure clean that off every so often. Usually people's rotation, I remember when we were doing pressure cleaning, we had them on a annual schedule, not a 6-month schedule, an annual schedule. So every year at the same time for our clients, they were just on a schedule. We just went there and did the job. We didn't ask them for it. It was just a standing date. We did the same, unless the date fell on a weekend. We did the same day every year for the pressure cleaning of our pressure cleaning clients. It always worked out very, very, very well for us, So is that something that she had? Another scheduled, it seems like her life, like I like my rotisserie life, right? Set it and forget it. That's what I call it. Like when I have my payments on auto pay and stuff like that, I call it the rotisserie plan, right? You set it and forget it. And that's kind of like the way I like to live my life. And nowadays, is on this rotisserie plan. I set everything up. I don't have to think about it, and everything runs like a well-oiled machine. I don't have to, worry about this, worry about that. I know everything comes directly out of my account. I don't go anywhere. I don't spend a whole lot of money. So whatever needs to go out goes out, and whatever doesn't goes over to the savings for when we need it, right? So that's kind of how I live my life. Is she like that? Does she have these things on the rotisserie plan where they're already just baked into the, where they're scheduled every annually or whatever? If she has her house being cleaned once a week, she's got that on the rotisserie plan. The cleaner just comes and comes that day that she's supposed to come every single day of the week, unless she's called or you call her and say, can you skip this week and come next week? And it's like, okay, sure, not a problem, right? So your pool cleaner, also on the rotisserie plan, right? You sign a contract, you set it and forget it. They come there every single time, every single week, and that's just your lawn maintenance, the same thing. So does she have this pressure cleaner crew that comes out annually to pressure clean her driveway, her pool deck, her house, and her roof? That would be something that I could see somebody like Nancy Guthrie having. So these are all the people that could potentially be suspects. And you got to remember, these are businesses. So these employees, they may have a thug that's never had a criminal record that's working for them that's still a thug, right? So who are these people coming to the house? What kind of background checks have they have? And are we going to find out that this is going to be an employee of one of these businesses that are doing work for Miss Nancy on a regular basis? And it's scary to think that, but it might be true.
First, when I first get to a scene and I get out of my car, I take photographs up and down the street.
Very
the
smart.
reason is I don't know what cars belong there and what don't. I don't know who parks on the street normally, who's in a driveway, etc. They can go back with that Tesla video and see if there's somebody parked on the side of the road, if there's somebody parked in a driveway that doesn't belong. This person we know cased out her home before. You already mentioned the 11th. We think, again on the 20-something, and then on the 30th. This person cased it. They knew her, comings and goings. They knew what she looked like. On this night, they, I believe, were laying in wait. I think they know exactly when she got home.
Wow.
And that's why you see him going back to the front door after all the lights are out.
So now you're kind of getting the gist of where this conversation for this show is going. Were they already inside? Let me ask you guys this. And I don't know the answer to this. I really don't. This is what we heard. We keep trying to figure out, why were the potted plants used, right? Why were the back doors opened? Why was the gate opened? what if they were lying in wait back there? What if he was using all that? What if they didn't even notice the gate had been propped open and he drops his mother-in-law off, right? And this assailant is already out there looking, already out there watching, already has the back door because it's over. The door that was ajar and wide open was in the nook. If you're just walking through the house into the kitchen, through the kitchen you're not even going to realize that door is open unless you get a breeze into the house. Is it possible that that's the reason why the doors were all opened? Because he opened them all when she was gone. So he didn't make a noise coming in. That would be kind of creepy. But it is, I think it is a possibility. Perhaps the subject was in the pool house until she got home. Yeah, it's possible. It's absolutely possible. It's absolutely possible. But I thought Cameron got into town last. I think Cameron was in town first. I think Annie, when she called Savannah and because for whatever reason, I've been hearing that Cameron was already in Arizona. I don't believe that was the case. I think he was in Vermont. I think he was the first one. I think he got right on a plane and came right down when his mom was missing. That's what I think happened. I think he was already down there by like day 2. And that's why his car was observed in the driveway when the news started setting up. I think that's kind of what has created this confusion. I'm not 100% on it, but everybody's trying to say that Cameron had this, that they were having some family. I'm not seeing it. I didn't see it even when I was doing research preliminarily. I did not see it. Betty, you're right. He was in Vermont. Okay, perfect. Some people were trying to imply that he was here, and I don't think he was. I remember doing thorough research on all the family. When I do thorough research, that means I did the research before I ever came live with the show. So nobody knew I was already, going into their, and when I go into like a lot of stuff. I go into their social media. I go into their family social media. I go into some of the comments the kids are making, their friends are making. I go through a lot of stuff because you kind of want to see the whole entire environment, because it's easy to put a facade on, but there are some comments that kind of remove some of the facade. And I wasn't seeing these, this huge family breakdown issue. It seems like they come from, in all fairness, come from a very strong family oriented, makeup and dynamic. So it seems like this whole family is at least this immediate family is a very tight knit family. Savannah is very tight with her sister and her brother and her mother. Yeah, they have their own lives. Yeah, she's, today's show co-host. They probably don't talk to each other every day, but they're very close, I just don't know. So I don't believe he was here. I know there's some things saying he was already here. I don't believe it. I don't see it. I remember at the very beginning going through all of this stuff, especially Cameron, because his name's not Cameron. I can't remember what his first name is, but he goes by Cameron. And I knew that from the very beginning because of the research I did on him. So I don't believe Cameron was there or had anything to do with his mom's. I never did. I just wanted to find out because there were some things that concerned me about some of the statements he made, predominantly when he was saying that he thought this was a kidnapping. Not that I was saying that he had to have done something because he's the one that came up. I wanted to find out what led him to that. That was such an off the wall assessment that I just want to know what brought him to that conclusion so early on. Not that I think that he had anything to do with it, just it's so baffling for me that he came up with the kidnapping so early on, when that would have been the furthest thing from my mind. I do believe there was a crime here, and I would have automatically thought a crime had happened, but the type of crime, again, I gravitated toward a hit or a homicide as my almost first inclination of what could have happened based upon the facts. And his was ransom and kidnapping. So I just wanted to find out what led him to that assessment. You know, that's my biggest concern with him. It might have been because of something he saw overseas when he was younger, and something just triggered in him when he heard this, it just, some things like that just happened. And if he said something like that, I'd understand it, because those types of things have happened to me. But I just wanted to find out what those things were. And we didn't seem to find that information. So was this person inside? Could this be the reason why they were so confident of not, triggering anything on the outside of the house? It's definitely worth scrutiny. It's definitely worth looking at and looking at that angle. Do I know? I have no earthly idea. This is not to show how smart I am. I don't know. I'm not here. I didn't do this crime. I'm not an investigator. I'm not a seasoned investigator. I have no evidence other than what is out there for the public to see. It is absolutely just a talking point, and a legitimate talking point, because there are some things that make me uncomfortable with how calm the assailant is. And I think that calmness is what really, I don't think at first people knew why they felt the family was involved, right? I think they just think the family was involved because that's, they're the closest to it. Statistically, we know that it's going to be somebody they knew. But I really think it's more than that. I think what really honed them into the family, even after the assailant, even after we saw the assailant moving on the outside of that house, I truly believe it's because of how comfortable that person. Maybe psychologically you don't, you're not realizing why. It's a subconscious thing, in my opinion. But I think the reason why so many people were still hook, line, and sinker on the family even after the assailant was realized on the outside of that house is because of how comfortable he was, how nonchalant he was, how it just didn't seem like he was worried about Nancy Guthrie, law enforcement, police being called. He was just doing his thing, and that scared us. But whatever we were looking at, it still looked like he knew where he was and what he was doing, and it was so familiar to him. And that familiarity rubbed off on us. We could see it. And we're thinking, who would be that familiar? Well, it has to be the family, right? I think that's where we go. But one of the caveats that we did not know back then is the fact that he had been there several times, and not just driving by, right? He didn't just drive by and look at the place. He didn't just walk up and down the streets. No, this man got out of his vehicle and walked her property in the middle of the night. And if he did this on the 11th and we know about it, how many other times did he do this that we don't know about it? And if he chose to do this, why? What brought him to this house? And wouldn't that imply if he had to do this many drive runs on the property that maybe he's not a regular person there? He may have been there. He may have an understanding of the home, but wouldn't that imply he's not a regular person there? Because if he was a regular person that went on her property regularly, he wouldn't have to do so many drive runs. He wouldn't have had to do that on the 11th. He wouldn't have been observed on the camera because he would have been able to do all of that in his normal job on her property without anybody even being the wiser. No? Maybe the perp was in a treehouse watching. Is there treehouses? DLL? I mean, there's kids out there, and they've got, some type of trees that can support a treehouse. I mean, it's the desert, so you're not getting any type of oak tree out there, but I don't know what kind of trees do grow in the desert. I'm not a desert person. I mean, I'm sure when I was in 5th grade, we learned all that stuff, but I'm not smarter than a 5th grader, and neither are any of you. I'm just saying. I, to this day, still wonder about the neighbor, what the neighbor said to Island. The set of humans moved out the day after Nancy vanished. And that does kind of bring us back to that overall map. Do I have that map somewhere? Let me see if I've got the map. Maybe I can, give me a second. Let me see if I can look at that map. We do have kind of the map. We have the vacant house, and I think that vacant house is the one that everybody's referring to that had like the tenants in it. Pretty sure I've got this here. Maybe I should do it by date instead of name. Kind. Yeah, let's do it by date. It's gonna mucky up my that's okay. Let me see if I can do it, if I can find it. There it is. I found it. Open with Google Chrome. There we go. So here is kind of the map of the area. Let me pull this down real quick. Come on. Let me get this one without the right one. Yeah, there we go. So here's kind of, as you see, Guthrie's neighborhood. This has always been an interesting property because it's just straight down the street. And right over here in this corner is her sitting area outside. Which, you know, I mean, this right here, construction, I just feel like there might be something with this. But either way, we're hearing that there was a property that had some people living in it. Now, again, this is identified as what they're referring to, the vacant property. I don't know if this is the one that had the individuals renting it that moved out the day after Miss Guthrie disappeared. It's possible. I don't know where that house is. If this is the house, this is the close proximity it is. And then, of course, Jeff LeMay is kind of, you know, down in this area over here. You know, let me pull this up. Oops, sorry. Let me pull this up. So he's kind of down, I think he's kind of down like over here in this area here, like you know, down the street, but on the corner further down. It's not in this photo, but that's Jeremy's, or Jeff LeMay's property. So this is one of the properties I believe Nancy, or maps Nancy Grace produced. And this is based upon Jeff LeMay's statement of where everything was to her. So we learned that there was this is Nancy Guthrie's house. This is the construction house that everybody was referring to, construction, and this is the vacant property. If the three guys were staying here, the proximity to this is interesting. But it does make me question just a couple things. If it truly was, say, somebody renting a house and somebody moving out after she disappeared, one, why would they need to case the joint if they were already living in the community? That would be, they would probably do a dry run. But in my opinion, it would have eliminated the weird behavior of the guy on the 11th with the hat way down, and them seeing them kind of casing the area out, and it unnerved the lady so much she called her husband, called her sister down the road to let them know there was a strange guy. He was in street clothes, she said. Just did not fit the bill. Is this vacant property, or was this vacant property used in the commission of this crime? One of the things that were denoted is, where did Miss Guthrie go? Could they have stationed her here just to sit her until they were able to figure out where to take her? Is it possible? Yeah, anything's possible at this point. We don't know what happened to her. Everybody that I've polled in this chat room, a high percentage, within a few degrees, a few people believe that there are other modes of transportation, but the majority of my audience believed that she was removed and moved by vehicle. Car, truck, SUV, van, right? A vehicle. We believe we see a vehicle behind the assailant in the original footage, but nobody has ever talked about it. Then we compare what we think we see to the vehicles that were pulled over and impounded, Carlos and Luke Daly, and the vehicle front looks similar to their vehicle front. The tire appear to match Luke Daly's Range Rover better than, say, Carlos's rims on that Nissan. But they both had kind of a little bit of a more of a pointy nose, and they were gray SUVs, which is what made me believe. But we did hear about a pickup truck, which is what brought us to the news about the guy stealing the plants with the pickup truck. Is that related? When we look at the guy, it seems like his walk's different. It seems like his body built is different. It looks like he's taller and more thinner than the porch guy. But it still just denotes the amount of danger that people in the Catalina foothills are in. They are not protecting these people like they should. Our government's number one priority to us, to we the people, is our infrastructure and our safety. That is the only purpose our government was built upon. It wasn't built upon, people's welfare. It wasn't built upon affordable housing. It wasn't built upon anything other than infrastructure and safety for we the people. That is what we created our federal government, our state government, and our local governments for, is specifically infrastructure and safety. And what is the one thing lacking that we're observing out here in Pima County in Arizona? We're looking at a lack of infrastructure and a lack of safety. And the lack of infrastructure and a lack of safety is what is creating this animal that is going on in their community. So my suggestion, and I'm pretty sure that people are starting to wake up, you guys have to have lights, and you have to turn your cameras on at your traffic lights. Okay, this a PC garbage is what is dragging this poor lady's case out. If this stuff did not go on in this county, we would most likely have a beat on the vehicle and who did this. And I think everybody is coming to the realization that that is true because they know it's true. And I think people feel, betrayed by their government. They were told that we need to do this to help the environment, and people were wanting to help the environment. They never told them the side effect of their safety, that they're giving up true safety for this garbage. Nobody is going to put their safety in peril for some animals and wildlife. I'm sorry, there is nobody out there. We know we cannot help the wildlife if we're not safe, and we can't be good stewards of the area. Being good stewards of the area means you guys, you good people, have to survive your life in order, because trust me, if all the good people are eradicated, guess what that's leaving you with? A whole bunch of bad people that aren't going to care about these animals out there or the environment out there. So I understand why the people of Pima County chose to do this. They thought they were doing the right thing, okay? So I don't want them to feel like, they're already beating themselves up because they realized that this stuff should never have been done, and they agreed to do it. So I think they're realizing they need to correct this stuff, and I hope that they're correcting it. But whatever you do, just remember, even with the wildlife out there, you're no good to the wildlife if you can't survive living there, right? So turn on some lights. There are, I know people are concerned about the lights and affecting the wildlife, but there are there are lights that just point straight down and do a small little glow. Just enough to give the ambiance. It doesn't really, it's almost like moonlight. So it really doesn't even affect the wildlife out there, but it gives you guys lights. It doesn't affect the wildlife like traditional lights affect the wildlife. And then the next suggestion, oh, hey, Hobo's mom, it's nice to see you, is turn the cameras, your traffic cameras on. Okay? At the end of the day, people run red lights. You need those traffic cameras on. They're going to help you in lawsuits for fender benders, and they're going to help you when somebody is doing an armed robbery and fleeing a scene. Okay? What do you think that you got? This is public space. Nobody has the duty of privacy in public spaces. Okay? So if anybody's telling you to turn the cameras off because of privacy, knock it off. You're not entitled to privacy in public spaces. Period. You want privacy? Don't do it out in the public. It's just that simple. Aw, thank you. Thank you. We miss you too. Aw, look at that little baby. Aw, pretty little. Is that a pretty little girl? I can't tell. It looks like apple pajamas. Aw. So, just love thy neighbor. I know that the people out here are good-hearted people. We've got to meet. So now there are some freaking nuts out there, but that's in every area, right? Miss Sue Yellen. She should have been Sue Jellin, but she was Sue Yellen. I'm just saying. Maybe we need to order her some shoals. Maybe it'll make her more comfortable. Stop. I'm horrible. I'm a horrible person. I'm going straight to HE double hockey sticks, darn it. Hey, Tyson. Grinch PJs. He's a boy. Oh, they're Grinch PJs. I couldn't see it. It looked like, now I see the Grinch. You're right. Now I see the Grinch. I couldn't see. It looked like a basket of apples. But, it's like this big, right? And then now that you say the Grinch, now I can see the green head. Sue Ellen needs a visit the psych ward. Oh, my goodness. Good morning. Good morning, Danielle. It's nice to see you, love. Nice to see you. The no light still has to do with a contract with the. I don't care. I don't care. You cannot put your people in safety for a universe or in peril for a university. I don't care. I don't care. University, and the university needs to understand you can't put people in jeopardy for to study something. No. Okay? Unless they're planning on paying you. Are they paying you? Is the university paying all of these people to put their lives in danger? Because if the university is not cutting checks to this house, to these houses, that they're putting in jeopardy, no. Now, if you have the opportunity to be part of this study and they're willing to pay you for it and to pay you to live in the dark, and you yourself say, okay, I'm going to participate in this program, then that's your choice. But to force an entire community? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I understand the importance of this, but you know what? There's other areas that they can go in. They can go into the desert where there's nobody living and do the same studies. It may cost them a little bit more money, but they can do the same type of studies somewhere else. They do not need to be putting people in jeopardy to do their studies. Absolutely not. I'm all for education. I always believe people need to keep learning and never stop learning. Even if you're 70 years old, find something new to learn and learn it. It keeps your brain strong. It keeps your brain sharp. Never quit studying. Never allow your brain to stop working, folks. When you stop, I truly believe it causes dementia. I truly believe it causes a whole bunch of stuff. Keep learning, keep learning, keep learning. And when it's hard for you to remember things, you keep learning, you keep learning, you keep learning. You keep putting that stuff into that brain. If you don't know something, go to ChatGPT and educate yourself. If you got a question, if this is right or wrong, you find something to do. If you got a picture, Tyson, you can send it to bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. So let's get the last little bit of this, and then we're going to move over to the parade, and then we're going to close out.
He thinks she's sound asleep.
Cheryl. Guys, joining me in addition to Joe Scott Morgan, Cheryl McCollum is with us, the star of Zone 7 podcast. Cheryl, how many cases did you and I work together in inner city Atlanta and Fulton County? I mean, can we even count them? I can't.
Thousands.
That's why she's so normal. That's why Nancy Grace is so normal. She's from frickin' Georgia.
Yeah, it's hard when I look back to
at least
count the numbers. 100, 150 brand new felonies a week times 4, that's a month, times 12, times 10 years plus. That's a lot of cases. So Cheryl, is there anything new under the sun? Defendants do the same thing over and over and over. They can't help themselves. Like, think about it. Everybody listening right now, do you brush your teeth the same way, at the same time, every morning, in the same order? Do you wash your clothes a certain way? Do you get somewhere in your car and go, oh my goodness, I don't even remember getting here?
Everything you know that she's accurate. We get up, we do the same routine, at least us old dogs. We get up, we do the same routine every morning, right? My routine is going to the restroom, going into the kitchen, getting the coffee pot, dumping my dehumidifier. You know, it's always full of water by morning. Dumping that out, making sure that the dog has water in it, making sure my ice machine has water in it. Then I go into the bathroom, I brush my teeth, I walk into the room, I play with the dog for a little bit, then I get up, she starts whimpering while I get dressed, and then I jump back in the bed with her so she doesn't think I'm walking out the door, and we play there for about 20 minutes while I do some research. It's the same stuff I do every day. Some days I get in my car and I drive, and I'm like when I go over to my best friend's house on a Saturday, it's like, oh, I'm already here. How many times did I stop? Did I stop at the red lights? And you did, because it's muscle memory. But you still forgot how you got there. You just left and you arrived.
Must have zoned out. People do the same things over and over and over. It's like it's muscle memory.
Yep.
So what I'm saying, Cheryl, we know this guy, the perp, one of them anyway, because I believe there had to be at least two involved. We know this guy lay in wait before. We know he cased the scene more than once. So he was very high on preparation, getting there ahead of time. What would be any different this time? It's like every time a dog sits down, it circles 3 times. You know he was in that neighborhood, which makes it very important to review the video from the Uber driver that picked up Mrs. Guthrie that night. And also, Cheryl McCollum, a lot has been made about the daughter, Annie Guthrie, and brother-in-law of Savannah Guthrie, their car being impounded.
Okay, I'm not getting into that, so let's get into the...
Cool. When you're ruling, or from the black box, did that car move after 9 o'clock? They would know that. And that's why it's critical when you're ruling people in and ruling them out. Go through all of it in order to truly rule somebody out. The data from that phone, the data from the car, it's going to tell the story. That's not something they can manipulate. The Uber driver the same way. If he were to put his phone on airplane mode, that black box in that car is still operational.
Oh, thank you, Hobo's mom. Gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. Ross Hall, you received it. Welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the insane asylum. Grab your straitjacket in your padded room and welcome aboard. Thank you, thank you. Who did that come from? Hobo's mom? Because I'm a love machine.
And still telling us whether it's rolling forward, in park, the trunk opens, the passenger door opens, we will know all of it.
Back to you, Joe Scott Morgan, you and I believe Cheryl and Fitz were talking at the...
We're not going any further than that. That is the thing, because that was the last talking point I had. We will get back to the rest of this tomorrow. We're doing research. We were supposed to do research today. We're not doing research today. Maybe we'll do it later tonight. Or later this afternoon, where we're going back to the beginning of this case. But this was a talking point that I thought was ultra necessary for this case for a variety of reasons. Because we keep wondering why this assailant was so comfortable. We keep hearing him coming back and forth to the house. It seemed like he had this layout down pat for the at least 2 times that we heard or know of him going to this property prior to this. Now, if we were to use Brian Kohberger, now if you don't know about Brian Kohberger is doing life in prison without the possibility of parole for a quadruple homicide for 4 University of Idaho students on off-campus housing. And one thing he did is he also came to the property multiple times prior to acting out his fantasy, so to speak. Okay? This guy here in Pima County has done the same thing, right? Another little caveat with the Brian Kohberger case that I see is it possible that this assailant came back after the crime was committed, like Brian Kohberger? And I believe that he did. So one of the things that we're going to be doing, and I'm not going to be setting this up, we're going to do the research together from scratch. I'm not going to pull anything. We're going to pull it all together. We're going to follow this all together. And we're going to start searching for, we're going to bring everybody into this. So you guys are going to be searching too. And you guys are going to be sending me a lot of stuff. And we're going to be working together to find all of the footage from those first 5 days. And we're going to start going through the footage and looking at every vehicle that passes and stopping it and looking at the faces, seeing if we can make heads or tails of some people, if we can get tag numbers of vehicles that we are concerned with. We're going to start making lists. We're going to start really doing some investigative work on this case to try to identify this masked gunman that we saw on the outside of this house. And I've been trying to see if we could do it, where we just, people are just curious and do it, but I haven't received any, and it's been 2 weeks since we started talking about it, so I figured we haven't received any clips from people passing those first few days. So maybe it's time for us just to go back and however long it takes, if it takes, if we can get it done in an hour, we can get it done in an hour. If it takes 5 hours, it takes 5 hours. And we're just going to work through methodically through these through the footage, and just really look and hone in to see if there's anything that we can see or uncover. And we're going to do it as a group, because I find that, when we're all in here, and then of course I'll have somebody up on panel, probably the Real Me Too, that'll help me manage the chat. So if you guys are finding information when you're doing stuff and you're trying to make sure I see it, that, I have somebody in here monitoring the chat full time, being able to speak to me in real time. So I think maybe the Real Me Too can help me with that when we do that. So I think that that's going to be fun for us. Not fun, but, it's a necessary evil for this case that we have not done yet, that absolutely needs to be done. It's going to keep us engaged with the case. That's the fun part I was referring to. I think fun was the wrong word to use. I guess engaging was really the word I was really trying to use, but I think it'll be engaging for us, and it'll make us feel empowered, like we're actually doing something to help move the case, versus just, regurgitating the same talking points. Let's really do some work that might actually get some pay dirt. And I think that that's where we can excel here on this channel, is just going through all of that. So we'll probably start working on that. I'm either going to do that tonight. We'll do that tonight, or we'll do it tomorrow. I just find in the morning I'm just more refreshed. At night I'm too exhausted, because I've been working all day. So I think what we'll do is we'll kick that off tomorrow morning. I think we'll do that at 10, and then maybe we'll start it off. Let me see. Do I have a meeting tomorrow? Shoot, let me look at this real quick. Shit, I do have a meeting tomorrow. Maybe we're not going to be able to do it tomorrow. Let's see what's on my agenda. They're just going to push all this shit through no matter what I say, so I just get past all that. Deferred to a date not set. Okay, so we don't have to worry about that. Appointment of members to the Deborah Ash. I don't really care about that. Property management. Trust, public land conservation. Finance feasibility study. I need to hear that. Oh, we have a small day tomorrow. I'm not going to go in for that. I can call in for this one. Federal lobbying services, I'm all for that. Naming King, Middle Park, Nicholas Bolletary. I'm absolutely against that. Who brought that up? Absolutely against that. No. King Middle, no. We need King Middle. King Middle Park is what it's going to be. That's my school. That's the name. That's where I grew up. That's the school. That's the middle school I went to. Nick Bollettieri is a freaking tennis player, okay? Has not accomplished anything but tennis, okay? We're not changing king middle, we're king. No. Okay, I'm going to argue about that. And we need to hear that. And then Suncoast Prosper. So I've got 3 things on here. I can call that in. It looks like we're going to have a fairly light day tomorrow. So maybe we'll get started. I might do a live early in the morning, like at 6, just to give us an update on Lynette Hooker. And then we'll start this at noon, because I have a funny feeling we're going to have all this wrapped up by noon with the county. And then I can talk about my last little things. Or maybe I'll go ahead and prepare my comments tonight, and I won't even have to worry about calling in tomorrow. I don't know. I'll set it up. Wherever I end up setting up the... Whenever I end up setting up the time to come live, that's where we'll put it. I don't know. That will give us time to research. Yeah. Maybe we'll do it at noon. Maybe that'll keep us all in the safe side. I'll do a live like at 6 a.m. just to give us an update on the Lynette case. And we do have some other breaking news cases. I'm bringing in more Florida cases as well, because I'm going to start working Florida and start promoting some and trying to get some cases to go viral here in Florida that need help. And just promote those, because we do have 6. Oh, very nice. Well, welcome. We love Floridians. So I appreciate you. Lots. But I think I'm going to try to look at some cases, because we got this missing person case in Florida that we really need to be, if she's missing and nobody's out there searching for her, we need to be getting out there and searching. This is something that we can do that's right in the backyard in Hudson. Hudson's like an hour and a half from my house. Like, there's no reason why we shouldn't be helping some of these people that are missing here in our own backyard, that where we can get and get these cases to go viral and get out there and really start getting back into the searching in the Florida heat. But one of the things we did for a long time, for years, is search. That's what we did. That's what this whole channel was developed on, is searching and commentating on these true crime cases. But we've been commentating but not searching. The first efforts that we made with Sebastian Rogers were, cost us a lot of money. Well, we're almost through all of this. We still have a lot of money to pay before we're done with it. But I've been saving and making sure that our legal fund is still constantly getting funded every single month. I've been personally funding our legal fund, we still got a long fight ahead of us in Tennessee. So really excited about, where the outcome of that is. But I am definitely not going to end until they pay for every damn thing they've done to me. Everything that they've done to me. All of this. The tears, the everything. What they have done to me personally, what they have done to me professionally, all of it. I am not going to stop until they pay me for every God blessed thing they did to me. So that is still coming up, right? And the fight has just begun on that front. But it is now been 2 years. It is time for us to start. I think we got most of it, I don't want to say most of it funded, because you never know where these costs come from. But I've been funding for 2 years, okay, personally. So... And I know a lot of you guys have still been helping out as well. So I appreciate all you guys for that. But it's a sin what they did, and all to the help a missing boy. Absolutely. Absolutely, Big Mac Mike. So 3 sisters been missing since December 1st, ages 1 through 6. Send me the information, Rue. Is it here in Florida? I'm trying to do here in Florida because of the gas prices and cost. It's less expensive for our channel to do work here than it is everywhere else. So, this might be a great opportunity for missing people here in Florida, because we don't really do a whole lot in our own backyard. And this will get an opportunity for some families to get some much needed attention to their missing person cases. So I think it'll be a good fit for this channel. So, and we need to start getting some of these no-name cases viral. So, these cases that already have famous people attached to them, they've got enough attention to them. These other cases do not. So this channel has always been good about bringing cases to the attention of mainstream media on a national level. So that's what we need to get back to doing, and pushing some of these cases toward that main goal of getting them on a national stage so they can get the attention they need. Remember, the more attention that we can get to a case, the more resources that are given to a case. Always remember that. So our main goal is bringing the attention to the case, getting the case viral, so those resources are forced in. That's what forces those resources in, folks, okay? When you have a no-name case, they're at the mercy of whatever they've got, right? We make these cases go viral. They have to bring in the feds. They got to bring in, state resources, federal resources, because they don't want this being viral and them not looking like they're turning over every stone, because that will get them jammed up. That'll get them fired from their job, and they're not willing to do that. That's why it's so important to get these cases brought to the forefront as quickly as possible and get them lit up. They have to get lit up. If we come into a case and it's not lit up, and we can't get it to that viral status, we work toward it. There has been some cases that have poo-pooed. We try to get it to the viral status so more resources can get in, but it poo-pooed. How does it poo-poo? Our audience. If our audience doesn't like a case or not engaged in a case, we have to move on from it, because we're doing no good talking about a case that nobody's watching. Okay? So a lot of people think that it's us. It's not. We have to bring stuff and stories that our audience engages in. When our audience is emotionally attached to a case, that's when the cases get viral. That's when those resources start coming in. That's when we can really start helping those cases. But we have to do it in phases. We got to get that viral status to start getting that, warranting those resources. So that's our number one goal. That's what we're going to try to do. So if you guys have any cases in Florida that are interesting, newer cases are better. Cold cases we can do, but it makes it more difficult to find information in the cold cases, but we're not opposed to that. So just send that stuff to me, bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. All right, guys, we're going to continue to talk about Nancy Guthrie. This was more probative than we've been in a while with this case, and why I decided to go ahead and run the show. We're going to start going back and looking to see if we can help this case, because I think we're getting fatigued with it. That's why I'm kind of stepping away from it. But I feel like we haven't done enough in the case to help. And so I'm going to give it this one last ditch effort to try to see if we can get some leads or some angle to work at. And we're going to still be looking for other cases to bring on to discuss. I'd like more cases where we can kind of be out in the field. And so I really would like to keep it closer to home if possible. So if you guys have some of those cases, please send those my way. Again, bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. God bless everyone. We'll see you soon.